Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the hall. We hope you had a productive and insightful breakout session. We thank you for your continued commitment and dedication to be with us this evening. Now, it's time to embark on the most exciting part of our event, the forum finale titled Youth Policy Town Hall, National Budget 2024, What's in it for Youth? This session will be moderated by Mr. Oi Guo Shen. Mr. Oi is HEYA's Policy Assistant Director of the Campus Engagement Division. Now let's give a warm welcome to Mr. Oi and our distinguished speakers as we delve into the session.
All right. Wow. Suddenly the situation is so tensed. Hey, chill lah, guys. This is a youth session, so we are very chill. Okay. No worries. Or you're gonna scare our fellow speakers as well. Okay. All right. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's finale of our today's event, Future Youth Town Hall 2023. So up next, we have with us today our esteemed panelists who are youth politicians in our session. National Budget 2024, what's in it for you? All right, so without further ado, let us put our hands together again to welcome our panel of speakers. So first, we have Miss Nalina Nair, State Secretary from DAP Wanita Selangor. Nice to have you today. All right. Secondly, we have Miss Aisyah Hanah, Muda International Bureau Head. Thirdly, we have Mr. Meor Naqiuddin, Deputy Secretary of Armada Bersatu Perak. And last but not least, we have Mr. Nabil Halimi, Deputy Information Chief from Angkatan, Muda, Keadilan. It's a very big pleasure on behalf of HEYA to have all our four esteemed speakers here today. And so the last speaker we've introduced just now was Mr. Nabil. So how are you feeling, Mr. Nabil? A bit nervous. So
I'm a bit nervous, actually.
are you ready to take our first question? Regardless?
So I'll be the first one to take the question. Yeah. Okay. All right.
But just to kickstart our discussion before we go into a bit heavier stuff regarding our budget 2024, we'll start with a very simple question. No worries. So. It's not every day we get to speak to youth politicians like our four esteemed guests today. Maybe we even get to see our fellow MPs more often on newspaper, in media, etc. than our esteemed guests today. So maybe let us take this opportunity to get to know them better. So would you like to first try to tell us more about yourself? Introduce what do you do in your organization, in your position, and your aspirations, if you have any.
Hi, my name is Nabil Halimi. Thank you today for HEYA for inviting, especially Mr. Zahao for inviting us today. And I think today I'm with a lot of bright students from different universities. I'm really happy to have this kind of discourse today with my fellow friends. Nalina here, Aisyah, I've known her also, Mr. Meor. We had other programs that we've done together. I think my name is Nabil Halimi and I am the Deputy Information Chief of Angkatan Muda Keadilan. So basically, Angkatan Muda Keadilan is PKR Youth. It's a youth wings in Parti Keadilan Rakyat. I think a bit of why my aspirations being involved in youth politics is because I wanted to see change in Malaysia. And I think I've started off the political line from being an activist. When I got back from Cardiff University, I graduated, went back to Malaysia. I think I need to do something to Malaysia. So I guess I was like you guys back then. I was sitting in the chairs, listening to younger politicians speak. I think one of the earlier person that I knew in politics was Miss Nalina and also Miss Aisyah. But then again, I chose to join a different party. But we came into the same, the same route. We wanted to see different. We wanted to bring sustainable, good policy in Malaysia. and I guess it's a step forward from being an activist and now in the political arena. So I guess my aspiration is to see a better Malaysia, a more resilient community in Malaysia facing the global challenge that we are facing now. Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Nabil. All right, maybe next we'll have Mr. Meor.
All right, thank you, Oi. Okay, sorry. Hi, let me introduce myself. My name is quite long. I'm better known as Meor Naqiuddin in public and in politics. Originally, I'm from Perak. Okay, you can see by the name Meor. It's inherited in Perak. Currently, I'm serving as a private secretary to Wan Ahmad Faisal. Some people call him the Mat Jagan, you know. I'm okay with that. He's okay with that, don't worry. Currently, actually, my position in Armada. Armada is basically the youth wing of Bersatu, Parti Pribumi Bersatu. I'm like Nabil, I'm the Deputy Chief Information for Armada Bersatu at this moment. What else? My aspiration. Let me tell me about a little background on how I get into politics first. Right, I started my journey in politics back then when I was 15, if I'm not mistaken. Back then in high school, I've started to work for some politicians, making data and all these kind of things. And being the third generation in UMNO, Parti Pribumi Bersatu started in 2016. I originated in UMNO, so we've done a lot of things there, right? Good things, bad things, normal things, and whatever things that is possible to be done. My original background, I was a graduate of University of Technology Petronas in Petroleum Geoscience. I practiced for 1 year, and then I proceeded to my passion in education. They sent me from Petronas back to UTP to serve as education counselor, where I help students to actually decide which direction they want to go. Basically, I have a good passion in education because seeing that people are not succeeding, graduating. Aspiration in politics, I think everyone within these 4 speakers and even you who are actually part of the political system are looking into having a better society and better future for the country, for yourself, for your family, and everything better. No one wants to see things to get worse, you know. We have all sorts of ideologies in politics in our life, from being to the far right of conservative to the far left of liberals. In a way, we need to think about having this group of ideology to work together in a sense that we need to develop the country towards what we call the better future, you know. So then comes us, I'm being conservative, they are being liberals, a group of parties, and inshallah it's going to be better Malaysia. And we do hope, we just talked outside just now about politicking, but we'll talk more after this, don't worry. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Meor. Just one small thing I'd like to highlight, which I very agree with Mr. Meor, is that although we may have different ideologies, there must always be a common space where we should have some kind of consensus that we need to come together despite our differences and to discuss and to find real solutions to make Malaysia a better place, because ultimately, we as youth, this is what we aspire for. And that's also what HEYA is here for. So a bit of advertisement. Sorry. All right, but next we can have a third panelist to introduce yourself. Yes.
Hi, good advertisement there. Hi, I'm Aisyah Hanah Muhammad. I'm from Parti Muda. I'm the International Bureau head. So what I do is actually liaising with embassies, international NGOs, international political parties, that are aligned with our values and our vision and mission in Parti Muda. So a little bit of background. I am actually taking a break from politics right now, but I'm still serving my party, doing all the background work. I used to work with Miss Nalina. She was my colleague for 5 years. I used to work for Adun of Kampung Tunku, YB Lim Yue, in her first term. Before that, I worked in NGOs, SMEs, in social media marketing, and another NGO. So I started in politics not because I wanted to become a politician. I never wanted to run for anything, including now, currently, because like working for elected rep, you can tell like, you know, you have basically zero life. And I don't want that. I'm someone, you know, I look for work and balance in life. And but we started off as activists. I mean, I don't like calling myself an activist because there are far better you know, activists out there, more seniors, more experience. But we shadowed them, we followed them, and then we kind of like the pelapis, if I might say, along together with Nalina. So we were on the street protesting here and there. That's how we met, and then we ended up become colleague. And then now we're still talking about politics. I mean, like, you know, for the future of Malaysia. I'm not saying that you know, everything is gonna be easy. But this is a start, like, you know, a safe space for everyone to ask questions, to discuss about things. The aspiration is from that. So what I'm trying to say here is that many of you are probably in the position where you don't like to talk about politics, so you think politics is a bit too sensitive or a taboo, like, you know, even among your family members, your friends. But just now I could hear people talking about politics a little bit, you know, at the back. Like this guy here, right? Like, yeah, we were eavesdropping, but we heard you. But interesting, it's very interesting. And then like some other attendees as well. You know, you talk about work employability. I heard just now the discussion was aggressive. That's the term they use for you guys, aggressive. But in a way, it's not aggressive. I know it's more like you know, very enlightening, very engaging attendees. So we look forward to this.
All right, thank you. And can we have Ms. Nalina?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much. So my name is Nalina. I am from the DAP, the Democratic Action Party. I am, like just now, I was introduced as the State Secretary of DAP Wanita Selangor. I'm also on DAPC side, DAPC Selangor. I'm the Political Education Director. On the government side, I am a City Councillor for Petaling Jaya. So that takes most of my time. And you know, she was talking about work-life balance. There's no work-life balance as a councillor. You know, you work every day whenever your residents want you, need you. That's where you have to be for them. And I know, you know, sometimes you look at all of us and you feel so distant from all of us in politics. You know, you cannot relate to us. So I'll share what I do in my free time. So just so that you know, we are also like all of you actually. I'm a metalhead. I know I don't look like it. I'm a metalhead, a huge Metallica fan. And also in my free time, I powerlift. So yeah, you'll find me in the gym during my free time. Either the gym or I'm cooking at home, meal prepping. And I'm a rugby coach. I coach kids. I don't coach adults, I coach kids. So yeah, that's what I do in my free time. Politically, who I am a progressive person, all out for progressive policies, law, especially when it comes to women, whether it's women empowerment, women in leadership, not just in political parties, but women leadership across the board everywhere. Also youth empowerment as well. And right now in MPPJ, I know there's a very sensitive topic when it comes to MPPJ, that's dogs, stray dog management. I have done something crazy that no other councillor wants to do, which is take up policy making for stray dog management in Petaling Jaya. I don't know whether some of you are aware that in the beginning of the year, we had a huge controversy of how stray dog management is in Petaling Jaya. So after that, I decided to take it up. Very tough, because there are so many ideas on how a certain policy should be carried out, how we should move towards a certain policy. So a lot of time being spent on talking to a lot of people, listening. You look at us talking to you, but actually our work is a lot of listening to you actually. So yeah, that's where I stand at the moment.
All right, thank you. So I think that it's enough of our Panaskan Badan activity today. So right now, let's dive straight into our budget, okay? So again, the first question, maybe I'll direct to Mr. Meor first. All right. So this year's theme of Budget Madani 2.0, as labeled by the current government, is economic reform, empowering the people. So in your opinion, does it sufficiently empower the people? Yes or no? And if yes, who or which sector do you think are the main beneficiaries?
All right, thank you. Oi. So yesterday we have listened to the 2 hours plus budget speech by our Right Honourable Prime Minister and also the Finance Minister, which consists of the 300, how many billions, if I'm not mistaken, I've forgotten, 393.8 billion in total, which covers so many areas of group beneficiaries, which include us as youth, the sectors, industries. Yeah? Basically, every year when we come out with budget, all sectors will be touched in a certain values of budget to be included. By having said that, the theme of this year is to memperkasakan rakyat, to reform the budget. The question goes first to the government supporters, but now you decided to go to the opposition supporter. I would say that it's not something that is favorable to me. When you said that you want to memperkasakan rakyat, you need to clear out that the budget is totally going to the rakyat as a whole. Not saying that everything should go to the rakyat. It's not possible because there are so many industries, so many other sectors that you need to take care of. But I think the theme is to make it very catchy, to memperkasakan rakyat. But end up we are raising some certain taxes to the rakyat, even though you said that there's a group of critical aspect is not being touched, like foods and whatsoever. And same goes to that. It is believed and it is said that this budget would focus on empowering the lower tier of people who are actually in the poverty group, B40 or B60, and the M40 still are left out in every budget for the last many years. And the T20 is hurt a little bit in this budget, if you can see. That is to be claimed and is believed to be done. But in my views, and I believe in my party views, when a budget is to target certain group of economy group to be taken out something and you give to other group, it will affect the whole chain of group. You claim that the T20 will be taxed more and you will give to the B40, it will not happen. It can be proven by this last 10 to 11 months when we see that certain initiatives or action taken by the government to pull out certain subsidies and whatsoever from the T20 group to be passed to B40. In the end of the day, the group of T20 or the capitalist group will actually retaliate in making more other policies of their own companies and how to create more money. So if you ask me whether it's following to the theme and it's actually favorable to me, my answer would be no. All right, but I'm not denying in every budget there are few things that is what we call acceptable and agreeable and should be supported. I need to admit that there are certain things that I have to support by the mean of the 10% tax to the luxury goods. It seems that, but from my perspective, how you are going to implement that? You can give the best budget of all, but in a part of implementation on how you want to decide what is luxury goods or not is quite hard actually for you to put the line of luxury goods. Same goes to other things in terms of implementation. I'm worried more on what is going to be done later on based on the budget. You have all sorts of initiatives in the budget, right? But yet we have another 27 days to debate on this for us to get more specific and more in-depth direction or whatsoever that I want to do for the next 27 of Parliament session. We want to see the detailing, because of course when you present budget, everything is in the surface. We still need to ask more, then we will understand. But of all, at the surface, there are so many things that still are unanswerable from our side. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Mr. Meor. Any of our other speakers would like to take the question, or maybe even respond to what Mr. Meor mentioned earlier? Like Mr. Meor also mentioned about his concerns towards the classification or taxonomy of luxury goods. What constitutes luxury goods? So that's a valid concern, I would say. But yes, any of the speakers like to respond to the earlier question regarding do you think this budget truly empowers or sufficiently empowers the people?
I just may add a bit about what Mr. Meor has also raised. Came from the governing party, PKR. So I guess what has been showed yesterday was a realistic budget, a budget that we have to accept, because globally we are facing a crucial state in which the current government needs to take action, especially on what we observe on targeted subsidies. Our reserve is very low right now. That has been said even from Najib eras as Prime Minister, that day by day it's reducing, and we are holding much higher subsidies, and it's costing around 80 billions every budget. And I believe on the way forward now that we observe that the government is heading to targeted subsidies, I guess it's a much challenge to the Prime Minister as well, to take that challenge. And I think he took it bravely, and I think it's a budget to be sustainable in the future. It's a budget to hold the future, for the future generation. And I guess, I mean, to be fair, we also see that, at a very micro scale of paying fees for university students in, University Awam, that it was reduced into 1,500. I don't see it. It should be done even earlier from the previous governing government, but it only has been done now in Malaysia, because I feel that's an impact from the numerous tours that he made to universities to listen as small as the problems. And aside from that, we've observed, OKUs, Bekas Banduan, and also, Warga Emas has been given also opportunities, especially to the ones who don't have work. So I guess it's a realistic budget. It's much. I know some would be also impacted. It's not a perfect budget. Every year it's not a perfect budget. I understood. For some youth, they would see it as where's the budget for the youth, in which back then we have BRIM, but this time around we need to be a volunteer to get RM 500. But if we see it in a realistic way, it's a way for us to learn. You have to contribute to get something. And I guess it's a necessary way of changing how we are thinking in the coming future. Like I said, for me, it's a budget for us to accept. It's a sustainable budget that empowers even the smallest group in the country. And also it's a budget for us to be much more of a resilience community in the coming future with whatever that we are facing now. And I guess even in the healthcare being one of the largest, it's a good step, because if you went to the public hospitals, you would know the sufferings of the lower household incomes. And I guess it takes time for the government to prove. And on my side, I guess I pretty would want to also see it in a few months' time if it's applicable to be done or not. Yep.
Right, thank you, Mr. Nabil. So Mr. Nabil basically thinks that the current budget is a realistic one, it's an inclusive one, there are provisions for the OKU, for a lot of other groups as well, even those who went bankrupt, etc., etc. And it's more sustainable because it caters to more revenue streams by imposing all the new taxes, etc., etc., which leads to why it's sustainable. But in the interest of time, is it okay if I ask other questions directed to our fellow speakers?
I actually do have one add-on, but I know you have questions, so I'll add on to your next question.
Sure. So, okay, that is in order. So I'll be directing the next question to perhaps Ms. Nalina. You'd like to start, if that's fine with, okay. So, so just now, Mr. Nabil also mentioned about, there's this provision saying that, youths today, if you join voluntary events, voluntary stuff, you basically can get 500 ringgit. I'm not sure if you've read the budget. Just now, I think you guys said there was a show of hands saying that we've read the budget speech from yesterday. So, but it's paragraph 198. So, regarding that item, Ms. Nalina, what do you think about this particular new initiative where you give 500 ringgit to youths who volunteer?
I'm very pro volunteer, because everybody has a part to play in this society, and if we don't encourage volunteerism, everybody's in their own bubble, their own little bubble where they think every other Malaysian is like them. And this is a huge problem. This is a serious problem. Not just within I know as Malaysians we always talk about race. But even within each race, you have different demographics within each race. And these different demographics are all in their little bubbles. Let's say, for example, the Malays. You have elite Malays. You have Malays who are middle income earners, and you have the ones who are really struggling. And the ones on top cannot relate to the ones at the bottom, even though, I see someone, it's like, yeah. So Malaysia is just so different in that way. And it is only through volunteerism where you meet each other and you understand each other. And I think that's one of the biggest problems that Malaysia has at the moment, is that we don't meet each other and we don't understand each other. I come from an urban background. I'm born and raised in KL. I work in PJ now. So most of the people I meet are urbanites. And they tell me what kind of Malaysia they want. And I ask them, have you gone to the estates? Have you gone to Felda? Have you spoken to those people? No. And it's only through volunteerism that you get to go to these different places where you're not comfortable, you don't usually go to. And so I am all out, very supportive for volunteerism. And I know some people might kill me for saying this. I am not one for freebies all the time. Where it is needed, assistance must be given. But freebies all the time will only spoil us. And I see that in my work. I really see that in my work. I'll give you one small example. I'm one of the councillors who is in charge of organizing open houses. She laughs because she knows where I'm going with this. And I work in Dun Kampung Tunku. I'm a councillor in Dun Kampung Tunku. Generally, middle class and above. There are small pockets, very small pockets of B40. So I have these open houses, right? It is the people who can actually afford 3-4 meals who will come and ask Kentapa. Without thinking about people who actually really come and they really need the food. And because they're in their own bubble, right? They think everybody's like them. So I really volunteer freebies, so this 500 ringgit, getting people to in a way work to volunteer for this 500 ringgit is a very good opportunity to now open the eyes of young Malaysians. How many of you have gone to Felda? Those who are not, you are not originally from Felda. Have you gone to Felda?
I'll be honest and say no lah.
How many of you have gone to an estate? Not bad. Good. But you all like to volunteer, right? In this room. Ah. So yeah, I'm all for the 500 ringgit. You have to volunteer, work for it, meet new people outside your circle. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Ms. Nalina. But just a follow-up question. Maybe I can direct this to Ms. Aisyah, because seeing that Muda right now is more of a check, is also one of the parties that will try to check and balance the current government. Okay. So regarding, yes, I do agree with Ms. Nalina that this 500 initiative to spur our youth to partake in these voluntary activities is a very good initiative. But how do you see the wording of the particular? Of course, we don't know the exact details. It is still work in progress. But how would you suggest to the current government? How do they define or what kind of initiatives are eligible for this 500 ringgit? Or which kind of NGOs do you work together with? Only then you're eligible to this 500 ringgit. Yeah, thank you.
Right. I understand the question because there were also some like opinions. First of all, I agree with Nalina, there's no freebies. And I understand the reason behind the 500 rewards for volunteerism. I think it's to also align with the concept of Madani, which is a very, the birth of the idea of PMX, right? So, but the thing is like, and it is still a work in progress, but how do you define volunteerism? Because according to this, it has to be the one recognized by the government. So meaning that would have to go through the ROS. You can only volunteer for organizations that are registered under ROS. But what happens if you have like, university groups, even like, political party movements that want to do volunteering work? So, are they included in this reward program? So not everyone are able to join a university group, volunteering program. Not everyone is in university, for example, but there are other people, other opportunities outside with NGOs, right? But then again, these NGOs, you have to search for them, right? For example, if you're in medical sector, then okay, there's Doctor Without Borders, there's Mercy, but you go to them, they don't go out to you. The same goes for environmental programs, for example. So my background is environment, and like I said, like even 10 years ago, 12 years ago, you have to search for these NGOs. I think some of us might be familiar with Econites, Mango, as in MENGO, Malaysian Environmental NGO. So I worked with them for a while, I interned with them for a while. So these are, famous names, right? But there's also SAM, there's also MNS, there's now Kuasa, there's also MYD. Power Shift Malaysia, before MYD was, Power Shift Malaysia was the one spearheading climate change movement for youth in Malaysia. So, but these are the things that you need to search info on. But to have, for a lot of our youth out there, this accessibility is not really there. They don't really know how to look up for these opportunities. So in a way, it's kind of like a natural selective process, if you might say, like a filtering process where, okay, if you want this 500 ringgit, then you have to, do a bit of legwork, do a bit of research and find out what you want to do and everything. But then again, I think like this is also the chance for NGOs, for the collaboration between NGOs, universities, and even corporations, for example. So I hope this is something that the government will be able to address and also, get a working mechanism around.
All right, thank you. So maybe next year when you join HEYA for events, maybe you can get 500 ringgit. sorry.
Your marketing game really
I'm
up,
sorry,
are
guys.
you?
All right, next question. I'm so sorry. If I'd like to try to address this to Mr. Meor. So just now you mentioned that the budget, there are like certain unsatisfactory parts in it. So do you think that, from my personal opinion, do you think that Fly Siswa is something that raises a concern? Is it like feasible? Fly Siswa regarding I think it's basically to assist the B40 needy students with flight transport, because I think if anyone is from especially the IPTAs, I think you will have friends from Sabah and Sarawak. Every year they will be complaining regarding, oh, I don't know about my academic schedule, I cannot buy my tickets early, and now the tickets are like so expensive. Oh my god. So maybe Mr. Meor would like to address this?
Right, sure. Before I address that matter, I think it's true that should be given that 500 because it's part of volunteerism. You know, that's why what have been said by Aisyah. How do you actually put into measures on which type of volunteerism is to be given that amount, and which group to be given? Because if you see that each of us in political party also have our volunteer network. You know, in Muda and Armada, they used to do volunteer work. In Barisan Nasional, they have Barisan Nasional Youth Volunteer Group. AMK have it, DAP have it. So are we going to be entitled for that also? That's the thing that we need to know in terms of implementation. But the question by Mr. Uy, I think Fly Siswa is a good initiative, but if you ask me, it should not be only to be initiated for Fly Siswa. You know, you need to settle the whole issues of traveling transportation, long range flight, because I felt that, because last time in secondary school I was schooling in Sarawak, I was in boarding school in Sarawak. I felt that I can only go back to KL and Perak only like once or twice a year. There's 1 year I actually miss Hari Raya, but it's okay. In the good side, bright side, I managed to go to foster family's house, explore more about Sarawak and Sabah, and get girlfriends there. So it's good, you know. You should go. It's quite good. They are pretty there. Serious, I'm serious. You should go. I actually return to Sarawak every year, to just to meet friends and girlfriends. But having said that, Fly Siswa is a good initiative. We should not deny that, which actually benefited around 6,000 students from Borneo and vice versa, who from Semenanjung studying in Sabah or Sarawak. But the root problem is not about having that initiative for the 6,000 students. The root problem is that the transportation itself, flying to Sabah and Sarawak, is quite actually expensive. If we can actually settle that part of the problem, I don't think that Fly Siswa is any more needed. You know, of all, it's good, but if you can settle another part of the problem, I know it's quite hard for you to dictate all this flying corporation to tell them, okay, this is the only limit of ticket that you can actually sell and whatsoever. But there are certain ways that you might need to consider or to look into in order for you to solve the whole picture. For Fly Siswa for 2024, I'm okay, agreeable, go ahead. Alright, easier for me to travel there. But not for me lah, Fly Siswa is not for me lah. But for other friends or juniors to come over or to go to other places, that is good. Alright, but again, I'm more concerned about implementation. You know why? Because I've been in a position, I've been in government, I've been working with MPs, I've been working with NGOs, I've been working with some other ministries. It is much easier for you to tell people that you want to do something than implementing it really, you know. Sometimes you think that you can do something at ministry level, but you end up saying that, this is not possible to be done. You know, that's why it's very easy for us to present something that we are giving this, we are giving that. But the mechanism is also important. For that, it's not going to be something that is only being said. All right. So that is my concern. All right. But fly system I think is easier lah to implement. I'm okay with all for that lah. Don't worry. All right.
Just a quick one, can I add? Okay. So a lot of talk about how to implement, how are things going to be implemented from the budget. So just to let you know how it works, in the budget, usually there is no mention of how it's going to be implemented, because that's how it is. The Prime Minister of the day or the Finance Minister of the day is the one that says, we are allocating this much for these ministries to do this. Now you, as the ministry, will take this information, go back to your ministry and discuss how you are going to use this budget, how are you going to implement according to this budget that is given to you. That's how it works. So how are we going to implement? There's no indication from yesterday, because that's how it is lah. Now it is for the ministries to sit down to think about it, how to implement. Same thing in, like I'm from MPPJ, right, just now I said. Same thing in city councils, local councils as well. When we talk about the budget, we talk about how much we allocate to do certain activities, certain programs, certain policies. And then it is up to, in local government level, it is then up to the departments, the different jabatans. The councillors have said, so the councillors are like the aduns and MPs, but on a local government level. So the councillors have said, okay, now you have this much you can use, how are you going to use it? So that will come later. Yeah.
All right, thank you. So the next question, I'll direct it to Mr. Nabil. It's regarding the EPF accounts. So I think everyone is quite aware over the past few months, maybe to the 1 year, there was a lot of issues regarding certain families do not have enough money to survive, and hence they have cries for help saying that, oh, can I withdraw money from my EPF account? And to a certain extent, you can see that, oh, the government has listened, and this has been mentioned in the budget itself. But there's also a very realistic concern that we need to think of, is that, yes, you have money, you can withdraw money from your EPF account today, but there are going to be issues tomorrow in the future. So how do you think we should balance between this, especially when now there's this new structure saying that EPF accounts can be made flexible? So what do you think are the concerns, or maybe even your personal input to your government that today?
I think when it comes to EPF, I think it's for future savings. I guess, but as along the way, we become as a progressive country, the challenges are changing. I mean, globally, and I feel it as well. When I graduated, salaries are not high. You got a lot of commitments that you have to pay, and I think going back to families of, let's say, I've experienced in PJ as the deputy youth chief. Come family, there's 7 people living in a small house, and it was COVID. So I guess they had to sacrifice, and I think when the government wanted to implement a special or more flexible ways of taking out your EPF, I think it's a good way to go. But now we already have satu account dua, if I'm not mistaken, but you can actually come out with your account dua money slightly earlier when you reach to a certain level. You can also pay for your tuition fees from your account dua, if I'm not mistaken. So when there's another third account that would be open, or much more flexible account, I guess it wouldn't affect the ones that you've already invested, the company have invested for you to live in the future. And I guess for us to only have 1 million in, maybe for myself, maybe in another 20 years, I don't think it's gonna be enough, especially now. Say I'm already married, in the future I got another 3 children, for example. You never know. So I guess that's why I said this budget is a budget that is sustainable. I know it's not going to be, everyone's not going to be happy with it, but it's a step forward for us to take away from the old mindset that we already have. Especially, like I said earlier on, it's on the subsidies that we have. Especially, I'm a privileged guy here. I'm a Malay, a Bumi Putra, and I live in Malaysia. I got everything that I can get that maybe my Chinese friend wouldn't get, my Indian friends wouldn't get. And I feel that it's time, for the very least, we still preserve the whatever constitution that we already have, but at the same time, we try to be fair for everyone. We try to make sure that we come out and become more independent as a community. So I guess with the EPF right now, a bit more flexible. I guess if the government really puts a good structure, a good mechanism in terms of, especially for the young ones, I guess of an age, you couldn't bring it out. Because I guess if you keep on coming out, I know sometimes you feel that you don't have money. You just you're just using it because you don't have any resources. But I guess if there's a good mechanism, a bit more flexible, especially for the older ones, at least they can utilize it in the coming future. So I'm all for it. I'm all for the flexibility. But I guess there need to be a fine line, being flexible on also taking care of the safety nets of the people. So yeah, that's my takes on the EPF structure.
Okay. Sorry, I would like to add. I think for me, and I think a lot of people are actually on the same boat. We have like mixed reaction to this. So when I was working for Aidun Kampung Tungku, I took care of the welfare and the community. So it's a very huge portfolio. While Dun Kampung Tungku is not really known as like, it's not like a community in Taman Medan, for example. It's very, very, very different. But we do have a lot of empty nests. What does that mean? So a lot of these older senior citizens, they live by themselves. Either they are not married, or their families are either overseas or living far away from them, or they don't have good relationship with their children. So we encountered a lot of these kind of issues where they would come to us and ask for financial help. And mostly it goes for their healthcare, medical reasons, like hospital bills. You have no idea the amount of people coming into Aidun's office asking the Aidun to pay for the hospital bills in the urban area, right? And we're not talking about the rural areas, we're talking about urban areas. So what does it say about our community? And of course, we don't really just give it to them. We have to do a set of interview, house visits, a number of house visits. We have to talk to the hospitals. We have to talk to a lot of different agencies like JKM, Baitul Mal, Zakat. And I on a daily basis. That's the job that I did. Nalina is smirking because she knew the pain. So it's not as easy as just people coming in, ask for money, we give them. No, there's a lot of due diligence going on as well. And from the interview, we found out that a lot of these senior citizens have used up their savings. Some of them in Kampung Tuki area was also a government, residential area. A lot of the government civil servants resided there, are still residing there. And so they've used up their pension. Many of them who are probably not in the government sector have also used up their EPF, right? And we also have had issues or cases where they've lost their money to scams, and it's not by the small amounts, by the 100,000s, and it breaks my heart because there is no way they can get the money back. So that's the concern, right? So with this flexible EPF thing going on, it just raises that alarm for me. For anyone who has deal with, I think EPF would also, officers will also be, worried about this, because how do you determine who, in what situation can you take your money out by certain age? A lot of the criteria needed. So it has to be done very carefully. I understand the need for it because of the financial crisis that we are going through right now, global crisis, and this is very turbulent, challenging times. And if we are not careful, so we're not talking about this being implemented just for the current senior citizens. We're talking about this being implemented for us. You and I, you guys, when started working, your EPF is gonna start. So you have that flexibility of when you want to take that money out. But like I said, whatever is implemented today, is going to affect you in 10, 20, 50 years ahead, you know, like the senior citizens who saved up money like 50 years ago didn't know that they were going to have to use up their money way earlier than they should. You know, a lot of them have finished up their 1 million ringgit, for example. By the time they retired, they managed to get more than 1 million ringgit. But a lot of them have already used up their 1 million ringgit. You know, they only have like, 10,000 left in their account. And they're asking us, how can we help? And, it takes a lot of how do I say, conscience on our part to say that we can't help you. You know, like how do we give you money? How do we, inject money into your account? We can't do that, right? It's wrong. Like there's no way to do it. So it's something that that's like I say, it's a mixed reaction for me because I know the need, I understand the need, but it has to be done very, very carefully.
All right, thank you, Mr. Nabil and Ms. Aisyah. For starters, Mr. Nabil mentioned about, perhaps if account 1 and account 2 is maintained and we just add another account, flexible account, that may be a good mechanism. So I personally believe we can, I personally believe that our 4 speakers here today will definitely keep a keen eye on how things will develop, what are the mechanisms that are going to be in place, as what Ms. Aisyah also emphasized earlier. And thank you also, Ms. Aisyah, for letting us know on your observations regarding how dire the situation is. We have a lot of people who are going to retire, but they don't have enough savings in their EPF. So save prudently, okay, guys? All right, I think I'll just ask one last question because I know you guys are an active bunch. I think you guys have a lot of questions for our speakers. So quickly trying to wrap this up, and I'll open up the floor for more perhaps spicy questions. I'm not sure. All right, the last question that I'd like to ask all of our speakers to using your own words, how would you describe Budget Madani in 3 words? That's 1. And number 2, what advice would you impart to the audience today regarding how to better survive our future challenges? I mean, everyone knows there's a lot of challenges today, and or to make Malaysia a better place. So anyone wants to start? Not? Or maybe we can take the first question first. The first question is the most Oh. Tutup recording jap. Sure. No, take your time.
Politicians cannot sum things up in 3 words.
Okay lah. Maybe change it a bit, okay? 1 sentence, but short lah. 1 sentence, but short. In the meantime, you guys get ready your questions lah. Okay, thank you.
I answered the other 2 first. So the first one, just to recap for all of us, first one was 1 sentence. The second one was
advise your audience regarding how to survive future.
And then better Malaysia.
Yeah.
Okay. I take the second one first lah. So continuing what Saudari Aisyah said just now, while governments also have to create this safety net, at the same time what I've seen in my work as well is that we as individuals also have to think properly of what we want for the future, for ourselves. Because adding on to what she said, a lot of people don't create their own safety nets also. Government can create a large safety net for the society, but you also have to create your own safety net as well. For example, how many of you have medical insurance? Okay, I lega a bit. Because in my work, I see a lot of people who actually can, all their lives, can actually afford medical insurance. Because medical insurance, you have a range. You can take, if you don't earn much, you take a small sum. If you can pay more, then you pay more. So a lot of people who were young, when they were younger, they could have afforded medical insurance, but they, for some reason, didn't think about it, didn't buy, and then now they're retired. So if you're in your 50s, 60s to buy medical insurance, very tough. Then, by the time something happens, you get a heart attack or something, and then now only you think about buying medical insurance, forget it. Insurance companies are not going to give it to you. So you have to create your own safety net. Start thinking about yourself as much as you would like to give back to society and all that kind of stuff, you also need to think about yourself. You need to create your own safety net. You need to think about, when I grow old, what do I need? I need medical insurance. If I have a family, later on, I have children. And what if I go out for work and I don't make it back home? You have to think about all these kind of things. I know it's so dark and gloomy to think about these kind of things, but you have to create that safety net for yourself as well. Then, do you have life insurance? Do you have SOCSO? So, you see, the government has created this SOCSO thing, but are you going to take the initiative to make sure that you have enough in your SOCSO account, in your EPF account? So, while the government is giving you this safety net, you also need to take advantage of this safety net to make sure that you have created your own personal safety net. That is the advice I have for you, because in my work, I see so many people who have not taken the initiative to also build their own safety net, and they have to really pay the price later on. So yeah, I know I'm talking to a lot of younger people here, who, you know, you're having fun, you're in your early 20s, maybe some of you are even 18, 19, and you know, the last thing you want to think about is, oh, when I grow old, retirement, what am I going to do in my life? But it's something that you have to think about. I also used to be, when I was 18, 19, 20, out clubbing, partying, but you never think about these kind of things, right? And then now I'm in my mid-30s, and now I'm like, oh my God, I'm not that young anymore, you know, I've got like, 20 more years, and then I'm like 55 already, what? So yeah, it's something that you want to start thinking about already.
Anyone?
I'd like to answer both questions. You know, you said that being politician, we cannot answer in 3 sentences. It's quite true. Yeah, we like to talk. But for the budget 2024, being in a position, I would have in one word, it's wonderful. There's so many to wonder in that budget. But don't worry, because trust me, every government takes into places as a government, they would like to do things best for their people. You know, I need to put in that way. Any government would like to do things best for their people, right? No one wants to do bad things for their people. That's the first thing. So I can give you no need 3 words, only 1 word: wonderful. All right. The second question: what are the advice that I would give to fellow audience about ways to face your challenges in the future? I don't know. Some of you are much older than me. I don't know. I look old, but I'm 28. Can you believe that? I'm 28. I look old because people tell me I look old, but I'm 28.
I think he's a politician.
Yeah, because we think a lot. We think non-necessary things. You know, we think how to do things, bad things, good things. But you know, the outside world is quite harsh. You know, I've been into so many positions that you can think of. You know, back to what they have talked about poverty. You know, I'm not scared of the rural poverty, because we know that the rural group of people, they are poor. You know, they are poor in the sense of they need something to eat and whatsoever to survive. They can leave the house and think of how they want to find money for that day. That's poor of rural poor. But I'm more afraid of urban poor. Urban poor, you are poor to the extent that even you don't do nothing or you do something, all the things, you still have debt. You know? I've seen many type of poor groups, people in poverty. In my constituency, in Parit, you know, who have been in Perak, place called Parit. You know, it's not the drainage lah. Parit is a place lah. All right. I have around 60% poor people. 60% poor people, and have around 20% are extremely poor, to the extent that they only have 1 or 2 plates to actually share with their family of 6 or 7. You know, you know, in rural areas, because you are too poor, you have nothing to do, you make a lot of kids, you know. That is reality. Poor people tend to make more kids because that is the lifestyle that they have. So you cannot blame them, you know. So for them to, because many people came to me stating that, hey, if you're poor, don't make kids lah. But you cannot avoid that kind of things. In rural areas, they need to survive and to sustain their family. They want to find a pack of the rice of 10 kgs for them to survive in a week. It takes them 3 days to work. You know, it's very poor for them to find foods, and it's okay. Because, you know, in society, in rural societies, there's a group of people who actually, you know, this politician group, and they give beras, they solve the 1 week problem. But in urban areas, like Nalina said, the group of poor people are so bad that I've seen a guy who have not taken bath of 1 month because they don't have water. I tell you, in rural area, you don't have water, you jump in the river. It's reality in my area. You can go to your jiran to take bath. Yes, you have a group of community that knows each other in rural area. But in city, in urban area, trust me, even me myself, after the 5th house, I don't know who's my neighbor. You know, so I'm actually more concerned about that. For you to face your future challenges as a youth, we are in the same group. Don't assume me as an old guy. 2 things that we need to do is we need to be kind and we need to be selfless. You know, now because the situation and the things that we are having outside there is harsh and actually very challenging, we tend to be very selfish. I tell you, we tend to be selfish. You know, I like what Nabil said just now about it's time to think about the future. Malaysia have certain set of constitution. Being a Malay is actually a privilege in Malaysia. You know, I was an education counselor. Every year, I have a group of Chinese and Indian and non-Malays who actually want to study, but because they are in a group of M40 and B20, it's very hard for them to get place to study. You know, we are in tailors. For definitely T20 group will be here. I need to see what is it, right? But from my side, as an education counselor, I said, this group of people, they want to study, but yet because of no money, you cannot study. You know, there are certain things in life that you cannot actually make into quota. As a human being, there are certain basic things is to be distributed or to be given to everyone fairly equally. Education, healthcare, foods. You know, not only the Malays need to eat, everyone need to eat. Not only the Malays need to have education. Before that, because it's being recorded, it's not my party's stand. This is my personal stand because later on you use this for election. I don't know whether I'm going to contest again because someone will pull this Vinti to use against me. Again, I don't know. Because last election when I contested, they used my 5 years ago's video also. I don't know. I don't want to do that anymore. Nothing lah. Just naughty things, but nothing lah. Nothing, don't worry. Again. But having said that, the main thing that we as society, new generation, we need to create our own era of ways to be done, things to be done in our own ways. We need to be selfless. We need to be kind to each other. Last 30 to 40 years, you need to admit, everything happens in Malaysia, I think all over the world, is connected to whatever political landscape is happening in that country. You know, the last 30 years we have been politicians quarreling for powers, end up people are actually getting hurt. You know, these kind of things need to be done. You need to be very selfless. You need to be kind. Across party, Nabil will be in Keadilan, in Muda, you in DAP. Now everyone is working with each other. You know, who expect that Barisan Nasional will work for APH? Who expect we will pass? You know, in the end of the day, we need each other. Just put things into reality. In a sense that, what I'm trying to say, in the end of the day, we need each other. I don't know, maybe tomorrow I might need Nabil. Not in political way. I don't know, maybe tomorrow I might go poor. Nabil in the government of the day. Nabil, I need your help. Who knows? Who knows? Tomorrow, maybe next month I get back into power. Nabil lost his job maybe. He came to me, Meor, I need job. You don't know that. In the end of the day, we need each other. You see? Be selfless, be kind, and you should have a certain guts and will to do something that no other people want to do. I have to admit, maybe PMX is quite radical in his move. Maybe some is quite not reasonable. But we need to admit that he has the guts and will to do things. You know, we need to have more leaders and politicians who are actually brave enough to do things which are not in the norm of some other people want to do. All right. And secondly, I believe most of you here are group leaders of any society, NGOs or whatsoever. Join politics, or not. Bad people will come into places with position. I've seen a lot. Bad things. You know, I've seen a lot bad things. Yeah. Yes. Today you can choose. You have. The quorum is not enough now. We have so many other several parties. But do join political parties, not to get into position, but maybe to serve the people, because you need to stay away. And the skeptics of politics is quite dirty. Yes, maybe the method of playing this kind of game is quite dirty, but it is ourselves who are going to decide what the game is like. You know, so we need you. We need you, not me. Everyone else, we need you, because your ideas really matters. You know. Now, I believe there are certain group who are happy with the budget. Budget is one of the things. Another group might be unhappy. Group like me might be unhappy. But in future, for us to be everly happy, right? Let us be the decision maker. For that to happen, you need some political platform, because our system that politics control government and whatsoever. All right, we'll see you in the Q&A session here.
All right, thank you, Mr. Nabil, Ms. Aisyah.
Macam duduk sebelah YB pula. Anyways, so just wanted to say it in 3 words, kan? So mine is resilience, realistic, and sustainable. Because I'm an engineer, so I can simplify things. So I couldn't help him that much because I'm not in the government, even though I'm in a party member. So I think my advice, as a youth, have senior, older, more experienced people in this room. So I guess what's in it for the youth today, especially the topic of today, and what's in it for the youth. I guess after the challenges that we face, the change of environment from COVID till now, and we have change of government for almost 3 times. Mahathir is back. Everyone's like, Muhyiddin's prime minister. Everyone got sick of politics. I can trust you that. Even I'm in politics, I feel sick about it. So right now, we've observed a more stable government. We've observed a more, stable opposition. And with Muda on the sideline as well, giving, challenges to AMK, giving challenges to Keadilan, I think is a good way. It's a good balance, And I guess what we need as a youth is to be more independent, be more, vibrant in the ways that we put things. Especially, I think in politics, I know I agree with Meor. We need a lot of technocrats out there. You guys, I'm an engineer as a practicing engineer, but I'm into politics right now. But still a practicing engineer. But on my weekends, I would do things politically. And today we've got Miss Abby Lim as well. She's with Good Initiatives Plastic Purpose, and she's into the recent election as well. Unfortunately for her, but these are the new faces that we want. That brings changes, that brings solution, that brings new voices to the youth. And I guess the youth gets bored with politics because we see the same things over the years. We see the same, non-vibrant policies. We've observed Thailand move forward from whatever it is. Fintech is moving faster in Vietnam, not even in Malaysia. And if corruption was not there, if the leaders actually cared about the people down here, we've already should be in the same level as Korea, as Japan. We have a lot of talents here in Malaysia, and I believe half or maybe 30% in this room might just work overseas. Trust me, not even contributing it back to the country. And I have friends coming out because they feel that the salary is just too low. But I feel the resilience and the patience is needed, especially to the youth of Malaysia. I believe that a good change is coming forward. But I guess that needs to be taken into consideration of your participation as well. You guys need to move as well. And it is good to have you guys today in this discourse. I'm waiting for the Q&A. And yeah, that's about me. Just have the resilience, be more patient in seeing changes. It doesn't happen in like 1 month or 2 months. Yes, you can change a government in 2 months, but the change will need time. So be patient. I know it's hard, but we're doing our best right now. I think most politicians, even from the opposition, they want stability. We want a better Malaysia. I think the last is, what is it about again? Sorry.
Advice.
Advice. I think, come and join politics if you guys have interest in it. We need more young leaders. We need more change makers. You still can be an engineer and make changes through policy. You can still be a doctor and contribute your knowledge in, whatever you learn right now. That's what we need right now. We don't need just, people who talks, but people who shows it into action. So I guess that's coming from me. Yeah.
Right. Yes, Miss Aisyah?
After hearing like all the 3 people in Kerajaan Perpadu. Okay, so I would like to echo what Meor, Nalina and Nabil said actually. So Nabil talked about fintech, technocrat is needed in the world. Like I would like to use an example of like when the world when ChatGPT took the world by storm, right? So which was that, like probably last year or this year. So everyone's talking about AI this, AI that, and everything. But how many people are actually aware that AI is not a very recent technology? How many of us are aware of that? A lot of like normal people, laymen, people who are not very familiar with computer science, coding, computer engineering, and that kind of stuff. A lot of us think like it's just like a new technology, created maybe like 10 years ago, maybe, but it's actually a work R&D done over 117 years. So it has been around since before IR 3.0. We have the founding fathers of AI. There are three guys, 5 guys actually. One of them is Alan Turing, John McCarthy, just to name a few that I can remember right now. But the actual like work recognized as AI was actually in 1943. in the medical sector actually. So someone did artificial neurons, I think. But it was only between 1950 to 1956 where AI, I mean, it was considered the birth of AI by the founding fathers, these 5 founding fathers, right? In like computer machinery, computer learning, that kind of stuff. So it started from that point on. But to not discredit one person, we also have a founding mother of AI. Right? I'm a woman, so I need to identify, women who actually contributed to the industry as well. Some of you might know Ada Lovelace, right? She was born in 1815. So 1815, but she passed away in 1852 at the age of 37 years old, right? So her work has actually inspired, in the 19th centuries, right? And it led to 1943. Discoveries, and then 1956, and the very recent one. So what I'm trying to say is that AI is already old news. What we need to do, as you guys are still going through education, or probably going into workforce, or are still in the workforce, are some of us are slightly older, are probably leading in the certain industries. We should think for 10, 50 years ahead when we want to make policies. So I'm not saying that I'm super sad about the recent budget, but I'm just going to use an example. For education, I'm just going to read it out. 58.7 billion for education ministry, 1.9 billion to upgrade schools, which are definitely needed. Entrance fees for public varsities capped at 1,500, which is very good. 100 million for students who drop out of school amid pandemic. Again, I don't know exactly how this is going to be used or utilized. 250 million ringgit to expand Wi-Fi access at all public universities. Yes. 10 to 15% discount on PTPTN loan. Yay. And 82 million ringgit to build 26 new preschools, which are also, we are also shortage. We have shortage of that. But when we look into the business, the business sector. For example, the new industrial master plan to 2030 is aiming to get investments up to 95 billion ringgit with a median salary of 4,510 ringgit a month by 2030. That's a lot, median. Because I'm telling you right now, people in the political world, we are getting paid lower than that. I'm not kidding. We are not getting paid that much. It's very hard. It's very hard to live in urban areas with that kind of, we are actually in B40 category. A lot of people don't believe us, but that's the truth. But here's the thing. Here's where I see the gap, right? We talk about how industrial. We are already in IR 4.0. A lot of people still don't know how IR 4.0 is going to affect us in the near future. But there's the gap there. In the education, the budget for education, there's a void of where is the government going to spend for the R&D, for the future of, to reach the NIMP plan, NIMP 2023. We talk about, okay, we want this new industry master plan, we have 95 billion to create jobs and everything, but in reality, education-wise, we don't have the platform, we don't have topics. Not a lot of universities offer coding, not a lot of universities offer, AI, and that's a problem, when you go into workforce, you realize that there's not a lot of opportunity for you out there. So it has to be in tandem, it has to be aligned, it has to be parallel. But as of right now, from this, what I can see is that there's a bit of shortage. But I understand they are tackling the more pressing issues, which is livelihood issues, right? But here's something, I don't want to bring down the mood or anything, but what I can tell you guys is that do look to equip yourself with more certificates, more courses. There's so many, micro accreditation, short courses. Even I'm looking into going into cybersecurity, for example, because that's the future, right? You have AI, you need cybersecurity. So that's how I'm straying away from politics. So if you don't like politics, if you think politics is bad, blah, 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 I understand, the connotation, but we do need young people to be part of the voices. If you don't want to be directly involved in politics, you can volunteer with politicians. You can work together with politicians. You can approach politicians. Lobby them to present something, to fight for something in the parliament. That's not a very that's not something that we do in Malaysia. But in a lot of other countries, young people approach their politicians and say, hey, we want you to table this in the parliament, and they work together with their MPs. And we need that here. So you don't have to be a politician to be involved in politics. That's what I want. But you can join Muda if you want to be the third force. I know there are some Muda members up here. We also have digital form, we're a digital party. But anyway, I'm kidding. But that's the thing. Right now, we've known each other for a while here. But when it comes to politics, there are a lot of noises in Twitter, for example, a lot of fighting. But you don't see us fighting because that's the reality. We don't fight. Those fighting are just the ones who wants to create friction, drama, and it stops us, it hinders us from progressing. And that's what Nalina said, we have to be progressive. And then Meor said something very important. As we look into the automation of things, it's no longer automation, we have networks, of things, or to automate things now for production and stuff. But one thing that we do need to have is, being kind. There's no point of us being very progressive when it comes to technology, when it comes to the economics, but we are not kind to each other. It's not going to help in politics. It's not going to help the society. So regardless of your political differences, ideology, we should work together. I'm telling this to myself and my peers as well. We should work together, and arguments in politics or arguments elsewhere, everywhere, is very common. At the end of the day, we have to find common ground. And then, for example, for university students like you guys, I guess you have to start thinking that you're not just a soldier going out to work, getting money at the end of the day. You have roles to contribute to. It's very important because as of right now, we are so tired. We need new faces. It is so exhausting. We need new people, younger people, to also be the voices, because we can't be your voices for a long time. We're gonna age too, right? So there need to be pelapis when it comes to that. And then, yeah, I'm just gonna wait for the Q&A.
All right. Thank you. I'll just do a very short summary. I don't think I can cover what everyone said earlier because I think there's a lot of wisdom that they've imparted in their words. But in very short manner, Nalina is asking you guys to build your own social security, your own insurance, etc., etc. Think far and build your capacity so that you can capitalize on the new industrial master plan and build your career pathway out of that so that you have a great boost in your career. Be kind and always be selfless. Thank you for that I think very necessary reminder to everyone here in the hall. And lastly, we have from Nabil, resilience. Basically, the main takeaway I think is that just please have some patience with the current budget, with the government, see how things play out, and perhaps hopefully it will be a sustainable and a resilient thing moving forward for the next 3 to 4 years. Okay, so with that, let's try to open up room for, there's already a lot of, they are very active, I can tell you. All right, let's take a few questions first, and then we will ask our speakers to take it, to answer them, all right? Can we start with the gentleman in white? Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just introduce myself to the politicians here. I'm Dun Siang, currently a master's student in the University of Nottingham. And I realized this youth policy is quite important because of Undi 18. Because a new set of voters, 18, 19, 20, are going to be voting for you, and you need to be accountable for them. And I just got into this back and forth on this guy on Instagram who says that this youth shouldn't deserve to vote because some of them they just left school and they don't contribute monetarily. Just SPM level, don't go uni. Also, they're not educated. See, they're also saying, this guy also said something like, they're just sitting at home eating the parents' money. So how, yeah, really, it's a very crazy kind of thing. I really don't agree with this person. And this guy is a millennial as well, so I was shocked. I thought it's from a boomer because lately there's this political analyst, James Chin, he also, thinking twice, but still, this is a millennial. And this, how do you like counter this narrative? How important is it to, have this budget for this kind of youth, even if they are not contributing income, they are somehow, sitting at home, living and eating parents' money. Yeah, what's the problem? Yeah.
Right, thank you. Maybe we'll take another question here. We'll take 3 questions. Maybe 4 lah, just to save time. Yeah. I'll summarize as well.
Hello. Okay.
Yes, Amar.
Hi, my name is Amar. I'm from University International. I'll keep my question short. I'm not a politician. Anyway, my question is regarding volunteerism. So I've been volunteering since 2020. I went once to Shalam to help people with the issue where they don't have filtered water. I went to Sampurna. Beautiful place. Half the houses, no electricity. So now what I'm noticing is, for the most part, volunteerism is a band-aid to a systemic problem for the most part. So rather than addressing that systemic problem, why are we focusing so much on volunteerism, which is essentially asking people's goodwill to fix problems the government should have fixed from the start? That's my question.
Ouch, but okay, thank you. The gentleman here, yes?
Alright, hi, I'm Yuki. I'm not going to say the whole long things that where I'm from. Okay, so my question is going to be very simple. Should the government consider implementing GST again? Because the SST currently, is compared to GST is much more transparent. It's much more simple, and it can it help reduce tax evasion and improve compliance. But why the government does not want to implement GST? Should the government do that? To consider implementing GST, or is the government not considering it just because the promise they made in 2018? Alright, thank you.
Hello, my name is Nadia. So my question to the speakers, as we all know, polarization over race, religion, and reform has afflicted Malaysia for decades and powerfully shaped its electoral politics. So personally, as politicians, do you think Malaysia's new government, the Madani government, could bring stability, or would it just intensify ethnic divides and chaos in our country? Thank you so much.
All right, fellow speakers, seeing as there are just 2 more persons queuing, do you want to take all of them first, or? Yeah.
basically the education curriculum in Malaysia, where it would help improve a lot of basic knowledge amongst the youth and as they transition into working and adult life. And I think one other thing that I should mention, since Mr. Meor has already mentioned about how in rural areas where they don't have much to do, or they don't have they are much poorer and don't have access to contraceptives, and they basically reproduce a lot more often. Why aren't sex education and access to contraceptives more available to especially people in rural areas essentially? One other question I have, which would probably be more suitable for, I think, especially law students, but also fresh graduates looking for jobs, is that the issue of internships and also fresh grad salaries, which don't have, as far as I'm concerned, or at least as far as I know, there aren't any laws or policies that basically prevent, for example, basically law students who are chambering or fresh graduates or looking for internships, for being paid basically unlivable wages of like 500 or 300 ringgit for 9 months, and they're expected to basically live off of subsidies provided by their parents essentially, whereas people who might not have that privilege of having parents who are able to provide that for them, they are basically not given the opportunity, and they might have to resort towards working in the gig economy for a really long time and not be able to have the same playing field as the rest of us, I suppose. Yeah. Thank you.
Just for the benefit for the video recording and the live audiences. So basically, there's two questions. Number one is on why is financial knowledge and sex education not in our education syllabus, and number two is why are there no laws regulating interns' rights and benefits in employment? Okay.
Hi, my name is Donald. I'm from USM Kelantan. I'm a final year medical student, but I'll be asking about particularly to the government side of politicians lah. So we know from the budget there will be the government will allocate 150 million for public restroom repairs, and then in the recent months our PM, he likes to visit schools and allocate budget to repair school toilets, and essentially he also remind the students that they have to maintain the cleanliness of their own toilets lah. So my question here is, since children, school children, they are being taught the responsibility, and the government will be allocating this amount of money to do the same for public restroom. Any comments on how will the government plan to encourage and ensure the adults to do the same, which is to maintain the cleanliness of public restroom? Yeah, that's my question. Thanks.
All right, speakers, very quick summary. Is that necessary, or do you guys? A very quick summary, just a quick one. First one is education syllabus regarding those two topics: taxes on GST, racial divide. Why are you relying on volunteerism to solve government issues? How do you expect young children to take care of the toilet, etc., etc.? Adults, yeah. Sorry. Oh no. yeah. Maybe take these questions first.
Okay, I've got like 7 questions noted here. I'll take 2 first, because there's 4 of us and there's so many questions. I would like to talk about all of it because they're all really good stuff. But let me take 2 first, and then if we have time after they've done theirs, maybe we can come back to me. Okay, first one, which was specifically for me, why can't we have basic life skill sets in the education system? To be very honest, I think the education system, the syllabus is very outdated. How many of you know how to file your taxes? How many? Oh, 2, 3. How many of you know how to renew your car insurance? How many of you know how to get a bank loan? But before you got it, did you know how to get it? No, I go ask the bank guy. Okay. So all these 3 things I said just now, everybody has to do, right? Eventually everybody has to do, right? But it's not taught to you, right? Basic life skill sets. So I personally think it's very outdated. But education is something, I tell you, I've thought about this myself. If I ever were to be a minister and I was given a choice to be any minister I want to or don't want to, I don't want to be education minister. That's one thing for sure, because we are so polarized. I tell you this, we can bring this in. Let's say I'm education minister. I say, oh, it's very outdated. We need to change. I tell you tomorrow, there'll be a whole war at the back of me, because we are such a polarized country. But I agree. And my stand on this is public. It is a very outdated system. We need to change the syllabus, and that's the only way we can move forward, to have these skill sets because these are something that you have to pick up along the way, and it's so frustrating. I remember when I bought my first, the current car I'm driving is my first car. How to go to the bank, how to ask for a loan, and then now the first time I had to renew my insurance, how to do this, it's not taught to you. And then taxes, how much, I have to keep all these receipts, I didn't know, and then you have to file. You don't want to be learning on the way, you want to know already how to do it, and you don't want to make mistakes along the way. Because these are things that you should already know. Skill sets, life skill sets that everybody will have to use. So I think syllabus is outdated, needs to be refreshed majorly. Sex ed. I am very outspoken about sex education, and mainly because I'm able to. Because I'm in an urban setting. And because the people I usually speak to are for sex ed. But if I were to go somewhere else, rural area, and talk about sex ed, I will die. They'll burn me at the stake. Serious. So what I've been talking a lot lately is, actually for the past 3 years or so, is the menstrual cup. Do you all know what's a menstrual cup? Anybody doesn't know what's a menstrual cup? Good. Okay. So, for example, a menstrual cup, in an urban setting, a progressive family. Let's take my family for example. I use the cup. I need to clean the cup. And how I clean the cup, I have to boil the cup. Nowadays you have the sterilization pill, but before the sterilization pill came about, you had to boil a cup. So boil meaning I have to use one of the pots and pans in the house, and I'm not living alone. It's the same pot and pan that is going to be used to cook. My parents, thank goodness, are also very progressive. So they never questioned it before. Because their priority is my health. God forbid I get an infection because, we can't use the same pot and pan. So, I'm lucky. But if you go to a rural setting, and you tell them, this is the cup. First things first, before we go to pots and pan, you have to insert this into your vagina. Die. Before you can go to pots and pans, you die. Correct? Those who have gone to rural places, correct? You cannot even hang your bra and panties to dry out in the open. You want to talk about inserting a cup into your vagina. So that's why I say, you have to go to different places and talk to people. I would love to have sex education in the mainstream syllabus. I would love to. But if you are education minister and you want to bring this to rural area, you die. So things that are ideal to us might not be ideal to other people. So that is how it's... Exactly, that's how democracy works. Fortunately and unfortunately. So then it also depends on us as individuals to also start talking about sex education to other people. Because we can't always rely on government to pick up sensitive topics and talk about sensitive topics, sure die. So as individuals, we also play our part. Me as an individual in politics, I talk about this kind of things. But you as an individual who's not in politics, when you speak to friends who don't know what sex ed is or are against sex ed, communication is key. Conversations, you must keep having conversation. And no matter how difficult the conversations are, you must have conversations. You must talk to each other. If you stop talking to each other, you will not get what you want. Sex ed is just one of it. There's so many other things. I tell you, I give you an example. There was So I went on a night out with a friend, and he brought his friends. And then my friend had to tell her, oh, this is my friend Nalina, she's a DAP councillor. I said, "Ayyo." I just want a nice night out without talking about politics. So his friend eventually started talking about politics. Disagreed with a lot of things this government is doing.
Nalina, sorry to cut you short.
Okay, quick one. Quick one. That's why politicians cannot talk short one. Okay, quick one. Finish to wrap it up. So started arguing with me and really argue until I saw like, put my chicken down. I said, I go wash my hands and come back. I purposely took time to wash my hands, slowly came back. Because of the conversations, I told him to look at things the other way. Like I said just now, you are urban, you think this is right, but have you talked to people from other places who think they are also right? Everybody thinks they're right. And if you think through their lens, iyalah, they're right. So I gave him some time to think about what I said. Came back. Nalina, I acted very harshly just now, I'm very sorry. I thought about it, you're right. I think A is good for the whole country, but person B might think something else. And I have to acknowledge that he is also right. So it is through that conversation I opened that person's eyes. If I just kept quiet, you want to fight, you fight lah, you say what you want to say lah. The easier thing for me to do is not to engage, right? I just quietly eat my chicken, you think what you want to think, I can't be bothered lah. But if I had not engaged in that difficult conversation, I would not have changed his mind. And that was not in the political arena at all. That was just a personal time off. So it's your duty also to do that as individuals.
Thank you for the great input. But just a small disclaimer before we continue with the other speakers. We will be hard stopping this event at 6:20. Because why? We are kesian with the food outside, they are going to get cold, so... But I mean, okay, if we can't answer your questions, later on you guys can talk directly with our fellow speakers here for them to talk directly to you guys, okay? And also we are, because the caterers are also outside waiting, so sorry guys. But yeah, yes?
Right, let me go one by one, just very briefly. The gentleman in white asked about how people are quite skeptical about having this Undi 18 whatsoever. We get this a lot, don't worry. Every time we have election, we have saluran 1 until saluran 8, 9, 10 whatsoever. Ever since 2020, we Undi 18 is 2019, 20. Before 2020, this saluran, this polling saluran, people would actually claim that they have power over certain saluran. If you go to kampung, saluran 1, saluran 2, those who eat meat with straw whatsoever, they will declare it's under Barisan Nasional. Whatsoever, the rest would be under who. But ever since 2020, after Undi 18, when the government have given power to those group of 18 to 21 years old to vote, you actually give them uncertainty. Give us, the political parties, the uncertainty of the last 4 or 5 saluran on who's going to win at that saluran. That saluran actually controls whoever wins that particular PDM or DON or whatsoever, parliament whatsoever. So when in politics, we don't actually like uncertainties because we need to be certain that we can win. So basically all of you here are part of the saluran who are actually giving them uncertainty, and it's very hard for politicians, especially those baby boomers, to control. Just like what Nalina just said about answering to difficult people. So that's the reason they are trying very hard to tell that we don't deserve to vote. I voted 2 times, and we are the group these people don't actually want to get near because they don't know whether it's going to be a good investment or not for them to actually pull for votes. That's for you. The second one from Amma, why not we focus on settling on the system instead of going for more voluntarism? The answer is very simple, political will. All right? That's why I tell you, in the earlier speech, people like you need to be in the politics, political parties or political system in order for you to deliver these kind of things. Because or not, that particular politician or what we call politicus, they will actually care more on taking care of things which matters to their voters, for them to get the votes or for them to get all the money that they can get. You know, actually settling poverty is not a good thing for politicians. You know, most politicians, because they cannot make more money. You know, it's a reality. You go to other countries, also the same thing. Poor people is a business. Earlier, when before we start this town hall, Nalina commented on the motto, transforming youth to elite. She asked, why elite? I told her Malaysia is a capitalist country, so elite is the right word for us to use. So, you know, being in a capitalist country, having poor group of people is good, because that is your business target. You want to sell something, there are certain business target, and some of you will go for B40. You see? So you can get more CSR budget, whatsoever budget to spend on. Right? As simple as that. The third question is about GST. You know, back then in 2016-2017, in Parti Pribumi Bersatu, we also fight alongside with our friend in Pakatan Harapan. Yeah? Back then we were in Pakatan Harapan. About GST, but mainly it's not about GST lah from Bersatu, it's more about 1MDB and oozing some other people out from the government. But in reality, if you think about it, GST is something that I don't know, it's quite controversial, but in my perspective it's good to be implemented back. But back then in 2016, the biggest mistake that we made, because the rate is quite high, 6%. It's something shocking for us, you know. Okay, yesterday the Prime Minister announced that SST for certain items or certain services will be raised to 8%, isn't it? You have additional 2% that will contribute around 20 billion of additional revenue to the government through direct taxes. All right. Now, if you think about it, let's say they start back to implement GST at the rate of 4% lower, 2% lower. They can actually get 30 billion instead, another surplus of 10 billion. So, I don't know, maybe you're right. It's quite controversial for them who actually, for us, not them, for us who actually fight against GST to implement back GST. You know, again, it's a political will. Right. The fourth question by our lady here about Madani, whether it can unite, is for those in government to answer. But from my perspective, this is quite controversial. It might differ to some other things that I've said earlier about being kind, being selfless. But if you look into the history of, you look into nations with multiracial countries. America is not multiracial, to be realistic. I tell you, I'm sorry if this word actually hurts some of you. But in a multiracial country, you should be governed by a dominated group of people. I mean to say, in Malaysia, in reality, we are Malay majority. It's best for us to be governed by Malay majority party. But yet, fine, we have our thoughts and our differences, fine, all right? But the Prime Minister is still Malay. Most of the ministers are Malay. From my personal view, again, not my party view, don't use divinity to go against me later on. I think it's worth of giving a chance to this current government to show whether they can govern. It's fair. I'm open to that. But of course, being an opposition party, I will oppose everything lah, kan? But fine. All right, you have UMNO in there to take care of the Malay, the 15% Malay, fine. All right, but we'll see. Let's give the chance. From my side, my group, we have pledged to be a constructive opposition. We'll see how. Right, and again, it's for them to answer, because for the governing party to actually decide. The next question is to me from the
Mr.
student
Meor?
from Warwick.
Sorry, I think.
Another two, all right?
Okay.
What to be done? Basically, we have actually problem to develop things fairly across the nation. We focus on cities. To develop in rural areas, we need to have extra approach by group of volunteers to actually address some issues. We'll talk after this actually. All right? I think I can answer those four first. To be fair, later on we'll talk. All right? Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Meor. Miss Aisyah, Mr. Nabil.
Okay. I think, okay, they answered a lot of questions too, but like there's some additional things. Like for the topic of interns and fresh grads, right? I am definitely in favor of interns should not be made as, cheap labor. It has to go with the time, right? Everything is not cheap now. Even transportation is getting expensive, even though we do have the 50 ringgit card. But not everywhere you go you can use a card. It's not really, our transportation system is still not, dynamic enough. Like, you can take the MRT, but you have to walk to, another 10 minutes to go to LRT, for example. It's not smooth. And then there's also the cost of living, food. I mean, 500 ringgit per month, you can only spend on food. What about your other things, so your bills, your rent, and we are not all normal human beings. We want to have some fun activities going on too, but everything is so expensive. For example, like even there's an immersion, this is not a paid review or ad, but even like, for example, Museum Telecom has this immersion exhibition going on for 15 ringgit. It's 15, right? So it's cheap enough, right? I think it's cheap enough. But when it's for fun. I mean, it's good for your Instagram, blah blah blah. You can post it on Instagram, like you're trending and stuff. But to get to Museum Telecom, you still need money. You still need transportation, fuel, and everything. So 500 ringgit, very low wages is not going to be enough, and especially for fresh grads too. So this is something my parents told me. This is so funny because they realized that my current salary right now, and I've been working for about 10 years, my current salary right now is the same as their entry level when they first worked more than 30 years ago. It hasn't changed. The salary for entry level back then hasn't changed. And I'm not even in my entry level, it has stayed that way for the last 30 years. So this is something, the thing is this is not just something that Malaysia is facing, a lot of other countries are facing the same thing. But I wish the government, any of our ministry would address this. Kementerian, Belia dan Sukan have a say in this. Finance Ministry, Economy Ministry, they all have a say in this. And I wish they would review this issue. They would take it seriously. And I know for a fact that the business ecosystem, right, the employers, they actually make fun of the whole movement. The interns bukan buruh percuma. They made fun of it because they were like, we are giving you opportunities, we are giving you experience. When I was during your time, I hate that word. When I was during your time, I hate it. It has changed. You're spending money to learn now. That's how different it is, right? You're spending money to get experience, and 500 ringgit for a corporation, it's minuscule, right? 1,200 ringgit. Let's go to the basic salary, minimum wage. 1,200 is doable. So, there's this a lot of people in the SMEs, for example, are struggling too. So they can't hire interns. And the thing is that if you can't hire interns, don't hire interns. That's it. As simple as that. You don't force people to do free labor. It's very against human rights. This is. We are treating our people lesser than foreign workers. Foreign workers get paid more in this example. So fresh grads should be getting more. I mean, like everyone throughout the level should be getting paid more, especially interns. And then a lot of people say, like, we're training them. We're the ones giving them experience, exposure, and everything. If they don't want it, then it's not our fault. But they're forgetting something about building talents. You guys are the talents. I mean, if there are so many people who intern in different industries, and ended up liking that industry, and wanted to pursue something in that industry. For example, like maybe in engineering, you intern in in a business development, for example. But hey, you're like, I can do it. I have the talent for this. I have I have the capacity for this. But because of the treatment you get, because of all the the unsavory incidents or situations, you get turned off. And then all of us wanted to be influencers now. We don't want to work. We don't want to work for corporations. I want to be YouTubers. I want to be influencers. But to be influencers too needs skill. And it's just a matter of time that for you to be an influencer, you also have to be interns to influencers. It has come to that point. So that's one thing. Interns should be paid more. Fresh grads should be paid more. And then for the toilets issues, so Miss Nalina had a chance to go to Japan for, this exchange program between the municipalities, right? Malaysia and Japan. So, and we talk about this at great length. The issue with us as a society is that we are not trained to take care of our own shit. Is it? I can use that word, right? Pun intended. We, like in Japan, for example, school kids are taught to clean their classes, to clean school toilets, to take care of their things, take off their shoes and everything. And then for the first 3 years of grade school, they don't study, they don't have subjects. All they learn is about, ethics, morals, values. But we don't have that here. I don't know at which point do we educate our, younger generation on, is it in via preschool or through our family unit, where you have to take care of your own things. Even family nowadays, like you see, like if you go to McDonald's, KFC, or anywhere, right? IKEA, for example, you just leave everything there. When in other places, you, the customer, take care of your own trays and put it back into the whole, specific area. But now, IKEA has to employ foreign workers to clean up after, your trays. So we're going backwards. We're not progressive. So schools can only implement to a certain extent, okay, after every the school session has ended, we can spend like maybe 15 minutes to clean up around our schoolyards, school areas, toilets, classes. We need to bring that back. When I went to primary school, I remember doing that, so I don't know what's going on right now. Not into the school system yet. But
who was the one who asked that question just now? One day, you come for tea with Aisyah and I. We'll sit and talk about this for 2 hours, because that's what Aisyah and I do.
Toilets.
We've talked about this before.
Yeah, glamorous stuff. Yes. Nabil probably would like to add.
I think we've been answered all of the questions except for one, the volunteerism part. I guess when it comes to volunteerism, some might say, why does the government not doing anything? I think we go back a bit to COVID days where digital education was a new thing. Not much was prepared that we need digital devices to be in class. And therefore we observed several initiatives, and I was involved in one of it. I think we've also done it in Kampung Tunku. That was my first encounter with Aisyah and Nalina. So there was, it was called Connect, right? Yeah. It was something new that before this we never knew that the government needs to provide digital device so that people can have access to education. So I guess when it comes to volunteerism, it's a pressure to the government. When you are opening up new conversation, new discussion onto new things, it always comes back to the new people, to the first individual who starts to bring upon the idea. So I guess we can't really rely on, policymakers to be honest, especially in terms of bringing up the voices of the people. Therefore, we need to take this initiative. The younger ones should be the voice, should be, brave enough to come up with that initiatives of their own. I guess one of the most successful initiatives is Undi 18. I have to say that it changes how democracy works in Malaysia. And who would have thought that right now, the ones that holding the younger votes are coming from the Conservative Party. It's not Pakatan Harapan, it's Perikatan Nasional. And therefore I feel, before this people would say, the liberals are holding the youth ideas are holding. No, it's not. When those kinds of pressure comes from just volunteering of bringing an issue, that's where the policymakers would just pick it up. And I believe, it was an effort of everyone, not just the youth, not just, the NGOs, it's also the MPs like YB Said Sadiq and the few other who worked this on to work. And goes back to the first question, when, some are questioning, there was too young to decide. No, I don't think you're too young to decide, because once you're done with, you're 18, you're 17, I think you got your first license already. So I guess, it's you're wise enough to know that your life is on the wheels already. So for you to decide the future is already for you to decide on the wheels, just a mimic of the situation. So I think most of the question has been answered, and I like the question that was raised by Nadia, the idea of, can the Madani government actually instills more harmony? I guess we should give it a chance, and our core values in Madani is hormat, nilai hormat. The words Madani, there's a variation of meanings from it. And I guess that instills whatever policy that is made by the government should instill human governance that goes back to humanity, to be more humane, to be, to do more, you have more nilai hikmah when it comes to, being Muslim, the moral values should be there. So I guess give it a chance, and I'm pretty sure we would see a better Malaysia, inshallah. So I guess to wrap it up, I guess this is a good conversation, and I hope, Heya could more of this kind of discussions. Applause to the president, Ms. Zehao, for arranging this with the team, Goshen for moderating. I believe we need to sell more new faces here so that people would actually yeah. Okay, you got another question? Okay, all right.
Oh, really? Look, I really enjoyed this panel, surprisingly. And I'm very new in politics, like a couple of months year old, so I'm very in the infant stage. And hearing all your views, especially from the Bersatu guy, it's very hopeful for me. Like, I feel like if you guys are the future of Malaysia, there's not much to worry. But when I joined Muda, one of the selling point they have is because there's no women wing or youth wing, right? So as for politicians like you guys that are in like the youth wings and the women wing, do you find it hard to voice out your opinions? Because all your opinions here are very important, and this is something we all agree on. And I feel like sometimes it's a generational battle between two ideals. So how do you guys put your ideals and insert it into the top leadership? Okay, keep it short.
I'll try to keep it as short as possible. Because I've had these conversations with not only my party people, but people from the women wings in UMNO, Bersatu, Keadilan, all. we've had this, we have women meetings and we talk about stuff like this, right? So in DAP, not too difficult because we have a culture where young people must speak out. Especially Lim Kit Siang. Lim Kit Siang was the one who started this. He will call young people, and he'll be the only old fella sitting there. Okay, now you talk.
1 minute.
Now you talk, and he will listen. He won't say a word. He will listen. Everybody is done. Then he will tell you what he thinks. So it is an embedded culture in DAP that the young actually have quite a platform to speak out. And if you look at the aduns, the councillors in DAP, a lot of young people. So the wings don't really stop us and don't really encourage us. It's somewhere in the middle. But for certain parties like UMNO, where hierarchy, correct me if I'm wrong, because you used to come from UMNO, so you will know this too. In UMNO, hierarchy is very important. Okay, it is something that is upheld in UMNO, and to a large extent, maybe Bersatu and also Keadilan to a large extent as well. Hierarchy is very important, and so you need to respect your elders. Correct? You need to respect your elders to a large extent. And these wings are a platform for young people and women to voice out their concerns or whatever they want to voice out. Without these wings, a bit susah. These wings are platforms that give space for, and especially women, because I've had these conversations with women from the other parties as well. So without these platforms for women to grow in, it's a bit susah to equip yourself with the skills that is needed as a politician, and also to voice out as well. Because this one in DAP also to a certain extent, older male politicians are quite selfish.
Okay, give me 1 minute. Just 1 minute.
Sure. Wait, are quite selfish. So they don't really take younger women, especially under their wing. They don't really take.
Miss Nalina, I think we get the message.
So they don't really take, they don't really take women under their wing, young women under their wing. It is the women politicians who will do it. And this is where the platform is for women to take younger women politicians under their wing. Yep.
Okay, just short 1 minute.
Sure.
To answer that, even though I'm no longer UMNO, but knowing UMNO post 2018, no, semua all parties have been starting to istilah meremajakan. You know, Bersatu 60% is below 40. MK, there's so many. Muda is totally Muda. By the name, you know, also Muda. You know, so it's pretty straightforward. Ask to Abby's question. The answer is pretty simple. I've said, just be kind, be selfless, and another thing that don't believe the words that you are the leader for tomorrow. No, you are leader for today. Now you are the leader for now. Why should wait for tomorrow or the future? You decide now. Something is not right, you say it out loud now. Don't wait. It's not the right way to do. It's wrong. It's
right.
not the future wrong. No.
Thank you, Mr.
It's
Meor.
now.
30 seconds. Mine.
Okay. Just disclaimer. Muda is not Muda because of the name. So it stands for Malaysian United Democratic Alliance, Parti Ikatan Demokratik in Malay. And it just so happened that the name is Muda, MUDA. But we do have people in the 40s, 50s, holding positions in the Central Executive Committee as well. Yeah, 70. Yeah, exactly. So our oldest members is probably around 83 years old. Youngest is 15, 16. But okay, here's the thing. We don't have any wings. Because we want to shorten that, we want to cut that bureaucracy. So we have, quite a planar, organization, but it also comes with its own set of struggles, right? When you don't have a certain, hierarchy or whatever, it's hard to mobilize things. It's hard to, everyone wants to speak at the same time. So it's a struggle, but it's something that we are learning throughout because we're still new. But I really think, you know, like these parties are doing so much changes into the current political system that, yeah, hold on, that.
This question cannot answer in few
Yeah. but having platforms is one of the most important thing that Nanila said. So if you have that platform, or if you can build that platform, even better, you know. So just keep doing great things, guys.
Alright, guys. I'm so sorry, Mr. Nabil. Anything we talked over dinner, okay? Alright, but just okay. Before we leave, can we take a group photo? Yeah. So maybe everyone.